Well, good evening, and thanks for joining us here on Speed Racing Network. We got some Butt Kicker Cup Series action for you here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. I'm joined by Nick Halda. I'm Greg Olenek. And Nick, this is one of my favorite tracks here. Got a win here in SRN, and I know some people don't agree with me. This is a controversial track here on iRacing.
It's a controversial track in real life as well with tire issues, and these guys have the same thing here on the iRacing simulator. It's a fun track. You know, you're tight coming out of 2, you're loose coming out of 4, so you're kind of fighting this thing all the way around, and it'll be let's see what these top cup drivers can handle tonight.
Yeah, so go ahead, grab some tacos if you're hungry at Torchy's right there on the infield as these guys have a few more minutes to wrap up qualifying. But let's go ahead and check out these standings here in the Buttkicker Cup Series. Ryan Johnson has just gotten out to a commanding lead. I've missed a few weeks here in the Cup Series with COVID a few weeks ago and the election last week. I've been a little bit busy. And Ryan Johnson has just taken off and off to an 85-point gap ahead of that cut line. Reese Schaefer there in second, Joseph Causey here third, Ed Shearer, Seth Berger, all with pretty big leads. But I was just thinking today, it's going to start getting important for these middle guys here because there are points granted based on where you finish in the regular season that are bonus points in the playoffs. So that's going to start taking a consideration here for some of these guys.
Yeah, especially some of these guys, you see, Matt Dula there plus 11, Brandon Mayton plus 7. Some of these guys down here, that's all full close. That's one race right there that you can see be easily dropping out of that. So those guys not only want to start getting the higher up and get those extra bonus points, but they want to try to start giving themselves a little bit bigger gap off that cut line as well. Yeah,
you see a tie on the cut line there, Alonzo King, Raymond Nichols, like you said. But let's go ahead now, check out those team standings from last week. And some big-time matchups here. PVR getting the bye there, scoring 71 points. Gear Up edging out JW 99 to 82. That's going to be a W for them, and they stay undefeated here. Bar going up against Rat Pack. They win 90 to 67. And then Tank, well, they beat Yellow Stripe pretty well there, 113 to 54. So let's bring up those standings, and it's starting to heat up here. 2 5-0 teams here at the top here. The top 2 seeds going to advance to a 3-race runoff of the championship. Bobby Anderson, Phoenix Virtual Racing, they're trying to get up there and get in this mix too. JW Rat Pack and Yellow Stripe, well, they've been struggling so far this season.
And we're also starting to see, on those total points, you're starting to see kind of like a break in some of these teams where, Tank Racing way out with a 100-point gap on everybody at 580. Shows how strong they've been in their 5-0 record. JW Racing team, they've got 471 points. They've got 2 teams ahead of them, that are have scored lower total points this season. So we'll kind of see how the matchups shake up, and hopefully shake up some of these standings as well.
Well, it's going to shake up after this week. I can tell you that for sure because we got a big matchup here in Week 6. Battle of the undefeated teams. Tank Racing going up against Gear Up. Those 5-0 records up in the air right now. Who's going to come away with it, or will they tie? We've seen that happen in the other series here this year. And PVR going up against Bar. That's a big matchup too. Both 3-2 teams going up. So it's a big week here in Week 6 in the Cup Series.
Oh, it's awesome to see these 2 top teams go at it and make an early statement here about, quarter way through the season.
Yeah, so JW Racing, they're going to get the bye here this week, so they will progress to 3-3 here after Week 6, so that's going to feel good for them. But yeah, before we get out there, they got a few more seconds, just about 30 seconds before qualifying wraps up. Got to give a quick shout out, as always, to Buttkicker, one of my favorite equipment that you can get here on the sim. You can get the Buttkicker Gamer Pro, the Buttkicker Gamer Plus. You can get the four-way haptic connection there, or they even got a couch Buttkicker as well. Go ahead and check them out at Buttkicker.com. I was already moving on to Silverback Tax Solutions here too before I finished up that one. Silverback Tax Solutions. Go ahead and check them out. Silverbacktax.com. Getting closer to tax season, so go ahead, write that number down. Sean Griffith will get you all taken care of. And as always, got to give a big thank you to TJ's Team Foundation for coming back on board here this season. Go ahead, check them out at morethanAcape.org. It's going to be well worth your time to go ahead and make sure you go ahead and check them out. So let's go ahead and get out there on the track here. And there you see a beautiful night here at Texas Motor Speedway. The guys are starting to grid up out there, so let's go ahead and bring up the starting order for tonight's race. Scott Healy going to start on the pole here with a time at 29.913. Joseph Causey just to his outside there, 0.04 of a second off the pace. Randy Nichols and Timothy Latham in row 2. Ed Shearer and Adrian Schumacher. That's going to be row number 3.
As we look at now row number 4, the iRacing session just popped up in front of my screen here, so I'll let you grab the rest of the rows.
No problem. Brandon Domain and Drew Ballesteros going to be row 4. Brad Herman, Alonzo King, that's going to round out your top 10. Seth Berger, Brian McAvoy in row number 6. We'll go through the rest of the top 20 here. Vincent Cortez, Aaron Gerwitz, that's row 7. Joseph DuPont, Skip Gandy in row 8. Mike Mosby and Dave Hughes Jr. starting on row number 9. And Rob Norfleet and Justin Rideout, that's going to round out your top 10 rows. 35 cars in the field here tonight. Nick, I don't know if you got your session back up, but I got one question for you. Who are you picking here?
Oh, wow. You see the top 2 teams and represented by the top 2 drivers. I think those guys will be battling it out all night. And I'm going to go with Joseph Causey there to get the win.
Not a bad pick. So the 88 getting that car all warmed up for his Tank Racing teammates here tonight. They're going to be making a push and maybe coming away with a big win here in the Cup Series. I'm looking down the board, seeing who I like. I'm just going on the fly with this right now, and I'm going to stick with the man on the pole here. I think Scott Healy gets it done in the 64 machine and comes away with a win in that Toyota Camry. So you see the guys starting to pull off here tonight behind that iRacing pace car and starting to get down to that time where you're getting worried about your position in the standings, and a lot of these guys are going to try and take advantage of a race here tonight that not a lot of people look forward to and maybe make up some ground.
And that's something you'll see tonight that we didn't see at the Chicago Road Course. Some other things, like we talked about last week at Darlington, tire wear is going to be an issue. You guys hopefully have nice long green flag runs, maybe some green flag stops, so pit strategy can come into play. So we'll see some comers and goers here early, and as always, see if an early yellow throws everybody for a loop.
Yeah, so some guys like Blair Holloman starting in the back. He's in 32nd. Our points leader here in the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series, he's starting all the way back in 33rd here tonight, so he's going to have some ground here. He's got to be careful if we do have a lot of incidents here tonight to be careful to fall into that trap and maybe get involved in something here tonight. So we'll keep an eye on Ryan Johnson progress through the field.
Kind of interesting to see he struggled at Darlington qualifying as well. I wonder if he kind of maybe pushed a little bit too hard and wasn't able to register a lap due to the time of hitting a wall or something like that. We'll have to see how he progresses through the field to get set for the green flag.
Yeah, the green flag, as you see them coming to the Geico restart zone, is going to be waving here, and there you see it. We're kicking off week 6 here in the Cup Series.
And immediately the field starts spreading out as you head down into one.
Scott Healy side by side with Joseph Causey. Right off the bat, Joseph Causey going to fall in line. You see him a little loose off of 2. Randy Nichols just behind Timothy Latham there in 4th. Ed Shearer, your top 5 as they start to break away from the field. Coming back to the stripe, though. First lap going to be led by Scott Healy.
That's the first thing I noticed was how fast those first 5 cars were trying to break out, trying to break away from the field. Doesn't look like they were able to do it as some of the rest of the field started to catch that 3, 4, 5, 6 place, but the front 2 jumping out quickly. Healy to a 0.3 of a second lead already on Causey.
Yeah, you see someone blanking back there. I believe that's Adrian Schumacher who's having trouble with his connection. We've seen that over the last couple of weeks, so he's got to be careful. He started to fall back in these standings here. Can't afford to lose much ground on this field. Has a lot of guys performing very strongly here this weekend. And yeah, as we go right on with him there, he is having that issue. So Brandon Domain is going to try and get away from there, but he's got a battle on his hands here with the 85 machine. That's Brad Herman going to the inside.
Herman to the inside as you see Schumacher dropping back there, and that's kind of scary at this track because, yeah, he was nice. He got up out of the way. He's up high out of the racing line, But if he blinks when these guys come off the corner, you don't know where he is, and these corners are kind of tricky. And if you just try to move a little bit too much at the end, it can cause a lot of trouble. Be a little bit too tight, hit the wall, or a little bit too loose off of 2 and spin it out easily.
So I want to take my eyes off this battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now because they are nose to tail, including Drew Ballesteros there is having a good run. He needs to make up some ground too to get up here in these standings to maybe make a playoff run here in his first season in the Cup Series. But Ed Shearer taking a look to the inside of the 42, looking like he's going to make the pass in that 45.
As they are side by side heading to the line. 45 not giving it up quite yet. He's going to try to make that momentum work on the higher side. But how long do you want to fight this early? Do you want to burn up these tires? These guys, front 5, 6 guys running a really quick pace. So that's what he's going to do. He's going to back it out a little bit and, live to fight another day.
So further on back, you see, Ballesteros sliding up in front of his teammate there.
Right, it's one of those deals where you're probably glad he's your teammate. You're probably on the Discord channel. They're telling him coming up or you're clear, because that was definitely a quick move to get in line. But you see 42 still struggling here a little bit, falling back even further as he tries to get back in line.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know if it's a balance of whether he's struggling or not, but I agree with you. I think he is struggling. He's not running that preferred line, which here at Texas you want to be right on this line. It's almost like a grip strip here on iRacing, can really help you get around this 1.5 mile oval. But yeah, you see him well off of that. That's going to not do very much for the tires here. So we'll keep an eye on this 42 as he starts to make his move to the back here.
And we'll also have to keep that in mind as this race moves on. Is that second line ever going to come in? Are these guys going to be able to fight hard on the outside later in this race, racing back for the checkered flag?
Further on back here, Reese Schaefer making a pass on the outside. Scott Kalal gets a little tight there. They almost make contact. You got the 3 machine of Corey Saucier just behind, too.
So 17 here is going to try to make the outside work. He had a great run coming off of 4. Got a little 23 got a little tight underneath him. Had to force them both to check up. And you got Scott Kalal there. He's sitting there going inside, outside, inside. He's not sure who has got the momentum right now, but 17 is going to make the pass and look to continue to move up through this field.
Brian McAvoy under attack from Joseph DuPont. He gets right back behind him, thinks otherwise on this lap, but is going to try and set himself up to get that 1 machine by the 79. Rob Norfleet, though, wants to get on by and get on up there with his Gear Up Motorsports teammate Brian McAvoy. Remember I said big matchup here this week, Tank Racing and Gear Up, the undefeated teams here in the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series, going head-to-head. And right now, Tank Racing looking pretty good as they got Joseph Causey and Ed Shearer up front.
And you see these guys getting pretty racy up front, pretty racy throughout the pack as we reach 10 laps completed. There is a chance that this field can get spread out at this track. So these guys, while they're side by side, they are racing hard, trying to get every position they can while the field is packed up. And you see really hard racing, some contact. These guys able to hold on to it. Just good hard racing right now throughout the field.
Yeah, that was like respectful, aggressive racing kind of right there, just leaning on one another but not wrecking each other. And Ballesteros is thinking about taking another look, thinks otherwise, but now has Alonzo King to the outside of that 44. Alonzo looking really strong here early on, up 5 positions after starting 10th, quickly to the top 5.
Quickly to the top 5, and he's going to get the inside line here, a little crossover move, back down into 3 and 4, pushes the 45 a little bit high out of the racing track there, and that's going to let not only the 80 by, but I believe the 42 is going to get by as well.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, Ed Shearer really pinching these guys, not giving them much room to work with, so that's kind of what you risk when you don't give him a lot of room, which, hey, that's every bit of his right if he wants to race that way. I mean, we've all done it, and it really helps you protect that outside lane, and right now he gets a good run off that outside lane, goes right back around King, so Shearer back up to 4th, and now Nichols using that outside lane.
And he's going to do the same thing. He's going to pinch him coming off, because coming off of 4, that car really wants to slide out to that outside wall. And if you got somebody on the outside that's pinching you down, not letting you get a good exit, you're not going to be able to get full throttle all the way down into 1 and 2. And you can stay under the throttle for a long time. And as these tires come in, and you're not so loose coming off of 2, you can see the 42 is able to keep that momentum. He actually made that pass coming off of pinching him down there off of 4 is actually what made that pass possible here coming out of 2.
Looking like Adrian Schumacher having to come down pit road to get his connection issues sorted out. That's what I'm guessing is the situation, as it is still very early in this run to come down pit road. So he is going to be multiple laps down as you see him blinking here again, and that's going to cost him dearly as he is well down the standings and getting closer to that cut line now. Let's take a look at those standings coming into tonight, and there you see him down in 9th. Still a 36-point gap, but running in 35th here. He's going to be using a drop week here tonight and losing some ground on that cut line.
Yeah, it's unfortunately probably a week that you don't want to think about going in when you look at the schedule. You probably pick, some of the super speedways, some of the other, maybe road course, some other ones that you might have in your mind as a drop week. And, Texas is, a driver's course. A lot of guys, driver's track, a lot of guys like him. I'm sure going into this season, he didn't have this one as a drop week in his mind, so he's going to have to make it up somewhere else this year.
So a little bit further on back in the pack, checking in on Ryan Johnson as he's side by side with Johan Seminario now. Ryan up into 25th and making his way up through the field after starting in the back, already up 9 positions. So the points leader starting to make up some ground on these leaders, but kind of has a roadblock in front of him right now with Scott Kalal and Seminario.
And it's the same thing we saw a points leader do last week at Darlington. Kind of had a rough start and just methodically worked his way up to the field. Next thing you know, he's sitting there fighting for a top 5 position. So we'll see if he can get all the way back up to that same position this week. Right, I'll tell you what, a position is going to be hard to get to is first, as Healy is now out to over a second lead on the field.
Yeah, Scott Healy has checked out, but Latham not going anywhere. He stayed pretty much around this distance behind Healy, just maybe biding his time, because usually my rule of thumb is after about lap 20 here at Texas is when you're going to really start to see who's saving and who is not. And so right now, Healy looking like he's doing pretty well getting that 64 machine around here. But I think it's going to be an interesting test for these guys. It seems like we've had some relatively shorter races here lately in the Cup Series. 180 miles here in Texas. It's going to be a long race here tonight.
It's going to be a long race. You're going to have to be patient. Maybe that's what Latham's doing right now. He's not really getting a lot of pressure from Nichols. So those guys, seeing Healy run out, those guys might be content right now to ride along and try to make up that gap and not, kill each other's tires doing it, as we see more action here back in the back.
Yeah, Seth Berger, he's up to 9th, up 2 positions after starting in 11th here. The 69 of Vincent Cortez looked like he got a little loose, but we're 3 wide here through turn 1. Someone really high there. Not sure who that is. That's the 3 of Corey Saucier using all the track.
Oh, he used it all for sure. I thought he went in maybe way too hot, but it looks like based on the way he was advanced, that looked like that was almost done on purpose. I was surprised he was able to keep enough momentum. I thought he was really going to have to check out as he went way high there in 1 and 2. Let's see if that's a line that he's practiced that he thinks can run a little bit better. Is he, he's on the outside here, but he's definitely running a lot higher than we've seen other guys try to fight on the outside. So this may be something that he's practiced and seen. You see the run he gets coming off the 2 on these guys going on that long backstretch. So that's maybe something he's practiced and seen that, hey, once, lap 20, like you said, these tires start wearing a little bit, I can run on the outside and maybe get a little bit more speed on the, sacrifice the going into the corner to gain it on that long backstretch. So he'll have more speed and momentum running down that backstretch.
Yeah, started 24th here tonight and is 1 position away. That's Vincent Cortez. Oh, and he gets loose. That's the risk of doing that, though. These tires getting hot. You see it right there. A really dicey moment for the 3, and he's going to lose that position.
He's going to lose that position, possibly another one, as he was real loose. Good save.
Yeah, you just have so much speed, and eventually the heat starts building up in these tires, and that's one of the casualties of running these higher lanes. They're definitely faster. He's proven it right now, but, man, he's going to have to be careful. He's definitely paying attention to it now.
Yeah, and you can see he's a little bit gentler coming off the corner there, but he's going to get the momentum, come back around 3 and 4. Now, I'm surprised to see him running that high of the line here in 3 and 4. I know he's got, getting caught against position here. But even last lap when he could have went down, we've got contact and it's spinning. Is that Nichols?
Nichols
going around, saving it, keeping it off the wall, keeping it out of other vehicles as cautions come out. That was a heck of a save, maybe a night-saving move there for Nichols.
Yeah, that's a big save right there. Almost took out the teammate there, the 44 of Drew Ballesteros. Was the driver barely getting by there. Let's go ahead and check out that admin box wreck replay here. Bring it up. We watched it happen live, but let's go ahead and take it back a little bit. Looked like it was Joseph Causey behind him here, so see if he gets loose. Yeah, the 42 got loose right there. Fighting loose all the way through here. And just the 88 gets into it. I think no foul play by either driver here. That's just a loose race car by the 42 who was charging hard to the front.
Yeah, I think he was just fighting it coming out the corner, fighting it the whole way, and then once the 88 got behind him and took air off the spoiler, it made it even more difficult. And he may have even gotten in the grass there a little bit and came up, and there may have been a little bit of contact, but he was fighting it the whole way through.
Well, let's go ahead and, it's about to get busy here on pit road. The one driver, though, who didn't want to see it is Scott Healy in the 64, who was out to a pretty nice lead. Timothy Latham, though, was maintaining pretty well in that 5 machine, but every one of these drivers going to come down pit lane here on lap 24.
Let's see the race off of pit road. Can anybody jump Healy on this next restart? How hard are these guys that were in the top 5 just trying to keep it close? How hard are these guys willing to run this next stint? Are they going to let Healy run out to the big lead, or are they going to challenge him a little bit more?
Well, as they come off pit lane, let's drop the scoring tower so you can see the race. I imagine the 64 gets off, but you've seen before spinning the tires out of your pit box can cost you a lot of time. He gets off pretty nicely, but Timothy Latham off with a good jump here. Drag race, and Scott Healy wins it out.
Wow. Latham did everything he could, and including using the glitch there, being able to be in the other car there on pit road, and tried to jump out in front of him. That was a heck of a race off of pit road.
So Scott Healy right there going to come out in P number 1. But while they get everything sorted out, we're going to step aside real quick, take this opportunity to run a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktacks.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
All right, pace car lights are back off. Well, here we are back from the commercial break. Pace car lights are off. And Nick, we were pretty excited to see how this shapes out. Pretty good racing in that first green flag run.
Like we said, so a lot of comers and goers, a lot of side-by-side action. Guys fighting hard on the inside, guys trying to hold them off on the outside. And what a save by Nichols there. Not only did he save it, get back in line, gets back to on the restart here in fourth, but we're going to see how fast is Healy going to jump out, and is Latham going to be able to keep him from stretching out to over, almost a 2-second lead on the field in 20 laps.
Yeah, Nichols was charging hard towards the front before getting a little loose there and getting into it with Causey. Looking like Causey got the EOL there. He's back in 33rd now, but you see the pace car coming down pit lane right now. The field coming to the Geico restart zone, and that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag is waving once again here at Texas for the Lone Star 180.
And Healy will have the inside advantage heading down into one. But Latham is able to drop down quickly to that bottom line and follow Healy around. So we'll see. I think the top three were able to separate. As they are 3 wides here coming off into 2. You see them rumbling down that long back stretch. We're going to be 3 wide going into 3.
Yeah, these cameras are just capturing how many grooves there actually are in this track. And you just see all the rear ends getting loose here on all these drivers, but Scott Healy not worried. He's out to a 3/10 gap over the 5 in just 1 lap, but just behind him, Latham now falling into the clutches of Ed Shearer here. These two going up against each other in the team matchup this week. Europe up against Tank. Ed Shearer looking to pick up this position.
And you got to think with these top 2 teams going at it, every point, every position is going to matter.
Well, Ballesteros just behind him. He's also looking racy here, wanting to get JW up in the mix. Randy Nichols just behind him. So 2 JW drivers here in the top 5 having a fantastic night for their race here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway as well. Drew Ballesteros, though, maybe just taking it easy right here, going to ride behind the 45 as he was almost caught up in that incident with his teammate Randy Nichols.
And remember, JW Racing has the bye this week, so these guys they know they're their top 2 scorers on their team for the team points this week, but they have the bye, so maybe they're willing to be just a little bit racier. Maybe if they were racing another team, knowing you have 2 guys in the top 5, you want to hold those points. But those guys having the bye this week may decide to be a little bit more, take a little more risk, if you will.
Man, I just saw Vincent Cortez doing the same thing, running that really high line in that 69 as you see Reese Schaefer get on by Justin Wright out there. But want to ride on board here with Vincent Cortez in the 69 and see exactly what line it is that he's running here. Not running nearly as high. So I don't know if that's just something that these guys are trying every once and then again to see how it works. But he was running that same line Corey Saucier was running. So I'm wondering if they're taking notes out here.
They might see other guys see it, do it. They're talking about it, trying it, and it may be one of those things where you can get away with it for maybe 2 or 3 laps before there's too much heat built up in the tires. So it's something you may do every other lap, every 3rd lap, something like that, where it's faster, but you're also eating up your tires. So maybe you try to do it just to make the pass, or do it, every couple of laps.
Well, great battle here. Seth Berger to the outside of Brad Herman. Brad has had a pretty quiet race here tonight, up 1 position from where he began in 8th, but Seth Berger up 4 after starting 11th. He's in 7th in that 77, so moving his way up towards the front, going to help out the Tank Racing cause here tonight. Aaron Gerwitz just behind him in the 9th position here in that 9, also having a very quietly good night. And Aaron won here last season in the Silverback Tax Series in Texas Motor Speedway, and I like to say I kind of gave him a few notes, and looking good here tonight as well, up in 9th position. So We'll see if he can get up a few more spots.
Obviously, he's held on to the notes in a notebook or something next to his sim rig.
Obvious.
He's using them again tonight.
Yeah, and you know, I helped him paint the car and gave him a little bit of luck as well, and it looks good out there as he's right on the bumper of this 85 machine. So we'll keep an eye on this battle further on back here in the back of the top 10. Taking a look here in the back of the top 20. Blair Holloman gets ahead of Joseph DuPont. Blair started in the back here tonight. 32nd, up 13 positions in that Shelby Cobra paint scheme in that 10 machine. Looking to get another one here. Goes on by Skip Gandy there in the 14 machine. Good battle here for 18.
Wow, it was interesting to see that he was using the high line, but really didn't get advantage to almost 3/4 of the way through that corner, and was able to make it stick through those two little dog legs there on the front stretch and make the pass. That's a good-looking number 10 right there.
Yeah, I was really excited when he shared this in the SRN chat and Discord, and I was like, man, this thing is going to look sweet out there, and he pulled it off, and right now it's looking fast, too, as he's right to the outside of Brian McAvoy now.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Not only does it look good, but it looks fast right now as he's going to go maybe 3 wide on these guys. Real high coming off.
Whoa, he gets loose
up there. You get up into those marbles.
Yep.
We knew that car was going to get real loose up there.
Oh, man.
Wow. He was able to hold on to it.
And it's not scaring him any. He's staying right there, and that car just looks really loose right now. It kicked out on him a little bit, yawed out there in the middle of that turns in 3 and 4, but gets on by the 79 now. And sets his sights on the 17. That 10 is charging to the front.
I am surprised at how aggressive he's still staying. Knows he smoked those tires. Knows he's got them real hot. Sliding it again. Coming around. That time not able to save it. Into the wall. Into the inside wall. I think he collected number 11 with him.
And there's the caution. I was worried we weren't going to see it. Big hit there, though. That's Thomas Twomey back there in the 11, too. So let's go ahead and cue up that admin box rec replay one more time. See exactly what happened here. So I'm not sure exactly where it started. Whether oh yeah, so it was Holloman. It just got loose. We were talking about it.
Yeah,
I was looking away when it happened on my SDK, and yeah, that's exactly what.
I think that's one of those situations where discretion is a better part of valor. Yes, he was moving up, but he knows he smoked those tires a lap before. And sometimes, especially at a course like this early in the run with these tires, you know they're really hot. You know you've got them warmed up. Sometimes you got to just calm down. It's hard because you know you're charging up. You know you feel fast from these guys. But after you make that initial slide, sometimes you've got to know to slow down, give these tires, 2, 3, 5 laps to cool off, or you get caught in a position like this, and he was able to save it the first time around and unable to save it that time as he slammed to the outside wall.
Let's take one more look at it here from Thomas Twomey perspective. Nowhere for him to go, and that's big time damage for the 11. So a tough night for him. Gonna have to come down pit road and get that fixed. But man,
that's one of the yellow stripe drivers. So that's going to make it real interesting to see the top 2 teams. That's one driver down.
Well, not everybody opting to come down pit lane. Scott Healy still out there and still your leader here tonight as he gets that 64 yellow stripe motorsports machine. Pretty fast out there up front after seeing his teammate caught up in that last incident. So I'd say the top 13 staying out. The last car staying out. Emerson Ardon back there in the 57, up 22 positions. But Timothy Latham on back. Brad Herman, Norfleet, McAvoy, Berger all opting to come down with about 15 or so laps on that set of tires.
That's really going to shake up this field. So these drivers that stayed out must be thinking they're getting close to being able to make it on fuel. So they didn't want to come in now knowing that that guarantees probably one more pit stop for everybody 14th on back. These guys hoping maybe they get to that next fuel window where they can make it the rest of the way and another yellow comes out, because I think 15 lap different tires are going to make a big difference here, especially the first 20-ish laps of this next run.
Well, as you see, the pace car lights still on. Let's go ahead, maybe bring up someone here. See if we can bring Corey Saucier on up to the broadcast booth. Corey, hope you don't mind us checking in. It's Greg Olenek and Nick Halda up here in the SRN broadcast booth. Just want to talk to you about your run here tonight, up 21 positions. And, man, you're making that car look really fast on the high line. But did you just see what happened, and is that in your head? Maybe getting these tires too hot? How's it working for you on that high line?
Yeah, it starts to get pretty loose on the long run, but I think we can manage it. Just got to be smart. Can't push it too much, and take what's given to me and just try to get that lead.
Well, you've made it work for you so far, all the way up, and see if you can track down Healy. He's been tough to keep close on these runs.
Yeah, it's pretty stiff competition up here. Obviously, this is cream of the crop, so I know I got my work cut out for me, but we're just happy to be up here sitting P3 right now, and hopefully we can just keep up with the consistent run.
All right, buddy. We'll come into 1 to go. We'll send you back down to your Rat Pack Racing teammates. Best of luck, man, and we'll see you maybe in about 80 laps or so up here in the SRN broadcast booth. Best of luck.
Sure hope so. See you guys.
All right, so Corey Saucier heads back down to his Rat Pack Racing teammates there and gets his head all focused on another green flag run here, hopefully, as the pace car lights are off here. We get these guys ready to get back going. Sky Healy, Ed Shearer, it's your first 2 rows. Corey Saucier, Drew Ballesteros in row number 2. You got Randy Nichols and the 55 of Jordan Sailors in row number 3. Reese Schaefer, Johan Seminario in row 4. Lane Hostler and Mike Mosby. That's going to round out your top 10. Actually, it's Dave Fuchs Jr. who gets on by Mosby there. Dave Fuchs Jr., that'll round out your top 10 here. Any surprises for you so far here tonight, Nick?
Fuchs, Hosler, Sailors, Saucier, to see him move up using the outside as much as he was able to. It's going to be for interesting last 10 laps, because some of these guys have seen, yes, I know it can work, but it can also bite me, as you heard Corey say. Yeah, you can go there, but you better be careful.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, it didn't happen to Randy Nichols not too long ago as well. He was the cause of the first caution, him and Causey getting into on another, because he got loose off of turn 4 and ultimately Causey being dealt the EOL penalty there. But all by himself, Blair Holloman takes a big hit and is now out of this race, as well as Thomas Toomey. But now the pace car going to go down pit road. We're going to head back up to the starter box here as they get ready to get this race kicked back off and see that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waving once again here tonight.
And let's see what happens from row 7 on back. Those guys that pitted, how fast are they going to be willing to go 2 wide, 3 wide, and knowing that this is their chance to catch these top 5 guys that have been like Corey said, the cream of the crop tonight. But these guys know that they have a fighting chance here with fresher tires, and they're going to need to take advantage of it quick. And we see them getting racy, 3-4 wide, going down into 3.
Ooh, yeah, that's Mike Mosby in the middle here. Timothy Latham to the inside. You got Fuchs Jr. to the outside back there, and now it is getting all sorts of jumbled up back here in the mid-pack.
Oh, that's a dangerous, scary spot to be with fresh tires. You're sliding around, still cars stuck to the middle, 3-4 wide. Coming off the corner here, is everybody going to be able to get back in line safely? They are. This is some pretty impressive, real hard early driving here on this green flag run.
Yeah, you got Gerwitz, Herman, and Seth Berger all battling for position there. Dave Fuchs Jr. now under attack, and you can see these fresh tires going to work as Eric Gerwitz sets sail out of turn 4. Some of these guys, I think, might be regretting not coming down pit road.
Good job of early give and take by some of these drivers back here in the field, knowing that everybody's trying to make a move on these top 10 drivers that didn't take tires, but a lot of good give and take to let this thing kind of settle out and not wreck each other's chances of making up that move as well.
Well, defending series champion Timothy Latham slowly trying to make his way up through the field. It's got Joseph Causey just in front of him. That's a Tank versus Gear Up Motorsports matchup here, but the difference, Causey on 13-lap older tires. This 5 is just going to wait his time here and maybe save his tires a little bit before making the pass on the 88.
Yeah, we say fresher tires, but it's not like you're attacking right at the start. especially on colder tires. You got to let these things warm up a little bit. Right about lap 5 laps in, somewhere like there, that's when the heat's built up in these tires. That's when they get the most grip, and they're able to hold on and not be so loose coming at it too.
Seth Berger is not saving. He's going right to the outside of Causey. This is now the first car on fresh tires, the 77 charging towards the front in that Toyota.
And he's charging and catching now these guys that did not take tires, as he's going to, you're right, he's almost pushed it 3 wide there, and the other car in front of him decided better of it and gave him room, as another one almost got into the wall in front of him.
That's Seminario.
Yeah, it's Seminario. So you see Berger pushing real hard here through the front stretch, down into 2, driving it real hard into 2, coming up just that lane and a half higher. He's going to get a good run off. He's going to have that Seminario in front of him there. He's going to kind of stack it up here. We're going to be stacked up 2 wide just here for a little bit.
Alonzo King bringing it down pit road. Yeah, he was having a good night up here before these last couple of cautions, and now coming down for a full-service pit stop. But right now, Scott Healy out to a good lead here. Ed Shearer's hanging in there, 3 car lengths back of that 64. Nichols in third. Jordan Sailors in fourth, with Reese Schaefer rounding out the top 5. Shearer gets loose there.
Ooh, good save, good holding on, and you got to wonder, are these top 3 guys, we're not seeing Healy run out as far. They know they are going to have guys coming up here in the next probably 5 to 10 laps challenging him on fresher tires. I wonder if Healy's kind of being smart here and saving his stuff to be able to battle, expecting some of these fresh tires to come up and challenge him here around like probably lap 60 or so. We might see somebody like Berger get up here and be able to challenge for the lead. As right now, Berger sits 0.8 off, but that is fast dropping. Sitting there, he moves his way now into 4th.
Yeah, just taking a listen around the track, the sights and the sounds of Texas Motor Speedway. A great 1.5-mile oval. And no limits, Texas, man. 50 laps in the books just like that. But we got a battle back here for third. Seth Berger is not wasting time. He is getting out there now, up to second as he goes by Ed Shearer.
And made quick work of second and third. Let's see how fast he can make work of Healy as he starts 0.3 coming out of the corner, and you just see the difference in these tires. I mean, just 15 lap tires, he's been able to work his way up through 13 of those 14 drivers with no problem. And now he's catching Healy really quickly, and I think Healy's probably going to be smart here and not challenge too hard. Kind of moving up to the outside here. I don't think he's going to be able to challenge even if he wanted to.
Well, a new leader for the first time here tonight, Seth Berger. Now out in front here of the Lone Star 180. He's going to cross the stripe to lead his first lap of the night. Book that bonus point. The 77 is going to set sail here on the field. The next car closest to him is going to be Aaron Gerwitz back here in 5th on fresh tires. But look at the traffic jam he's got to worry about now.
And that's one thing I was saying was, Berger came up through, but he didn't really bring anybody with him. I mean, Gerwitz got kind of trapped here with these guys side by side. That was a great job by Berger. You see how fast he was able to work his way up through the field and create a nice big gap between him and the next guy that was on pit lane with him, as Gerwitz is still struggling, fighting hard to try to move his way up.
Yeah, but this speaks a lot about the patience of Aaron Gerwitz right now. Knows there's a lot of time left in this race. Doesn't force it 3 wide when he very well, wow, Ballesteros getting really loose. But yeah, back to my point. Didn't force it 3 wide when he very well could have last lap on these guys. He's just going to wait. Knows he has the better tires. Save those tires and just pick them off where he can now to the inside of the 42.
Yeah, he sees these guys in front of him like Nichols right there. He kept, running about a half a line higher coming off the corner. Knew eventually he'd get to the bumper and just be able to slide under the inside, keep it down to the inside. I think he'll probably do the same thing with 45. He's able to rotate the corners a little bit better, come off a little bit lower, more under control on this 45. He'll get him going into 3, and then he'll look at Healy, and then how fast can he catch Berger, because Berger's gaps now by almost 2.5 seconds.
Could be a long game play here, and it could be a good play too, because we haven't seen a full green flag run here tonight, and they can make it on one stop here. So it's all going to be about strategy on when you come down, how well you save your tires, and so far Gerwitz starting to make up some time on Berger out in front, but's got to get by Healy right now.
and we're not really sure what the full fuel window was. How close were these guys that pitted? Are they some of these guys back here? We know at least 14 drivers thought there was going to be at least one more pit stop because they stayed out. So are some of these guys that saved tires back here that pitted, are they not just saving tires? Are they trying to save fuel so they can try to make it all the way to the end? As we've got a car to the inside on the grass, no caution. Gets hit back on the track to number 57 of Ardon.
Yeah, Emerson Ardon celebrating that World Series here in Texas for the Houston Astros. But, man, that was a big-time run through the grass there, but keeps it going. Falls back to 28th, though, on the night, so that's going to be costly for the 57.
And he's going to have to probably get back on that other pit cycle, and he's going to be one of those drivers hoping for a caution, as well as 14 other drivers in the field who stayed out. But if this thing goes green, it'll be real interesting. How soon are those 14 drivers that stayed out, are they going to wait to come in? Are they going to run their fuel all the way out and keep losing time to these fresher tires? Or are they, as soon as they hit what they think is the golden lap, if you will, from here on I can make it on fuel, are they going to try to come in early, risk going a lap down, and then hope they can make it back up with a caution and the other guys have to pit? So there's going to be a lot of strategy going on.
Cortez with a bit of a moment there. He's one of the drivers we've seen running these high lanes in the turns, and I think it just bit him a bit there. He fell back quite a bit as he made his way almost to the top 5. He was the third driver in line on fresh tires, but maybe heated him up too much that time. I think he got loose as he comes back down to run the low line through 3 and 4 this time. 69, I mean, now he's back to 16 coming down pit road.
Yeah, he smoked those tires real bad. He is not happy with them right now. So he's going to come in, try to get to the tires and get more competitive. Obviously, he feels like he's struggling really hard on the handle of that race car.
Back out in front, there you see the lead going away for Seth Berger now. Don't take your eyes off that 9 machine. He is looking bad fast, and like I said, this is one of his favorite tracks. Let's take a look at those last 5 laps here between these two drivers, and lap 59 was a significant chop in there for Aaron Gerwitz. Didn't really close the gap at all, but didn't really lose much here on lap 60. But Gerwitz trying now as Seth Berger starts to open it up here through 1 and 2.
Yeah, so was Seth saving it, until Gerwitz got around Healy, and now he's starting to push it back as that gap is kind of staying right around just under a tenth of a 2-second lead there. So it may have been smart there by Berger, knowing that Gerwitz had to get around Healy and was waiting to really throw it down, try to save a little bit. Right now it looks like these lap times are leveling off just a little bit. Gerwitz maybe looks a little bit faster through 1 and 2. Berger a little bit faster to 3 and 4, and it's almost coming out as a wash on these lap times right now. It looks like when you're looking at the scoring pylon.
Yeah, I mean, only a 7 thousandths advantage on Gerwitz last time. That's going to amount to nothing when you're looking at it out the windshield like this for Gerwitz right now in the 9. But I think he's going to get a little bit off of his time here this time. It's like a tug-of-war match right now. It's just going back and forth, as you see him chip 600ths of a second off. But just like that, we're past halfway here tonight. When do you decide to come down for these drivers that pitted here on lap 39?
And that tire strategy of staying out, look how much it shuffled up the field. Look at this top 10. Some names that I haven't really talked about yet tonight. Dula, Rideout, Shearer, Nichols, all now find themselves in the top 10, getting that pits and getting the fresher tires and able to race their way up here. So this has really shuffled up the field, and some of the faster drivers right now on older tires, and these other guys really taking advantage as we're about to go 3 wide here again.
DuPont, like he got into the wall a little bit there on the entry of 1, but it doesn't matter. He gets on by Sailors here in the 55, the blue and orange car. That's Lane Hostler, followed by Brandon Domain in the Sandwich Man Racing number 20 here out of Phoenix Virtual Racing. He's going to try and make the pass here on the outside. Don't think Jordan Sailor's liking that car too much. He's going to bring it down.
Yep, so he's going to bring it down. Is anybody going to come? We see some more guys come in the next lap or two. I would think that we're approaching. Yep, here we got another guy coming down. So we're obviously approaching now the pit window where these guys think they can maybe make it the rest of the way. It's going to be tight. I'm still debating in my mind whether these guys think they can make it the rest of the way or think they just can't compete anymore out there with those tires.
Well, a big gear-up party back here. Norfleet Herman and Timothy Latham all back here as looks like Skip Gandy trying to get his nose here in the mix as well. Goes on by Norfleet back there, but these guys who pitted aren't faring as well as the others. I mean, Latham and Brad Herman amongst those cars, those drivers, Latham came out first amongst those guys that pitted on lap 39.
Did he get shuffled back, or was he in fuel save mode right from the start, knowing that he may have been close to getting to one more stop, and is he trying to stretch his fuel out? It doesn't look like it, though, as he gets shuffled to the outside and looks like he's going to lose another position.
And checking in on the points leader here in the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series, Ryan Johnson still outside that top 20, but barely. He's looking to get in it right here if he gets on by Rob Norfleet here in the 56 out of gear up, but Ryan ever so patiently making his way up through the field after starting 34th. He's going to take a look to the inside of the 56. Have to get out of it to not make contact, but right on the bumper, get some air on that spoiler. Try to make the pass here.
Try to make the 56 a little bit loose coming off the corner. Doesn't seem to shake him up too much. Yeah, he's struggling here to get in the top 20, but I think we'll see him here in the top 20, top 15 in the next couple laps. He's going to make the pass going into one, able to rotate there on the inside, and this is Healy coming in now.
Yeah, so the driver that we saw lead the first 50 laps nails the pit entrance here, slides right into his stall. Looks to make his final pit stop of the evening here, I would imagine. Actually, I don't think they can. It might be a two-stop race here. So, yeah, I'll be curious to see if maybe Latham knows something, like you said, maybe trying to stretch this thing out to a one-stop race. Joseph Causey getting on by Randy Nichols. Nichols has fallen back to 7th. Now as Scott Kalal, who we haven't really spoke of much here tonight, going on by 2. So the 42 starting to fall back. He's one of those drivers that opted to not pit during the last caution.
And remember the 88 and the 42 got into it earlier, and Causey got the EOL penalty, and he's making up some serious ground from that now as he's back into the top 10, now looking to make it the top 5.
Goes right to the inside of his tank racing, and teammate Ed Shearer there is going to make the pass and pick up 5th position. And it's just funny how for some drivers, running in the back and having to work your way up can make you drive kind of more patient. Others, makes you drive a little more aggressive, and works out usually in better favor of the guys that are taking it a little easier around this track. But right now, that gap has shrunk to under 9/10 of a second. Eric Gerwitz is coming here.
He's trying to make a move, trying to get that car a little bit bigger in the rearview mirror there of Berger. And I think he's going to, once he gets to that 6/10, 4/10 gap, he'll start getting a little bit more of a draft and should pull right up to the back of Seth Berger as we are inside 50 laps to go.
Now down below 8/10, chipping away at this lead. We'll see if he can get it done here tonight. But, yeah, exactly what you said, under 50 to go. It's getting down to business time. That pay window is going to be opening up here soon.
I like what Gerwitz is doing. He knows he's slowly taking those laps away, and he's not over-driving it. Because it's one thing to catch Berger. It's going to be another thing to get around him. And it looks like Gerwitz is doing a real good job of just biding his time, patiently, chopping away at this lead. So he's got some tires and something to go after Berger.
This would be a big race for Gerwitz because, look, you don't even see him here in these top 20 drivers. So he's trying to make a run here at maybe making a run at the top 20 to make a playoff push, because he did it just about every season that he ran in the Silverback Series in those Xfinity Series cars. But right now, he currently finds himself back in 21st position, 13 points back of this cut line. This would be a big night for that cause.
And playoffs are dictated by points. It's not a win or end situation. So is he going to race Berger really hard and risk, wrecking and losing the second place position? It's not a win or end situation. He's got a really good situation for a really good points night. So how racy is he going to be to try to get the lead? He's going to have a shot at it here real soon.
Yeah, he is there, and Seth Berger can see it. I mean, I just would be surprised if Seth Berger really battles him hard here, seeing that the 9 is the faster car, but Berger putting down a good lap that time. Not going to lose too much, but, man, Gerwitz gets a really good run out of 4. This is where he's making up all his time right now, as he's closed it to 3/10 just like that.
I think Berger's real tight coming off of 4, and he's not able to stay in the throttle or get into the throttle as early as Gerwitz, and Gerwitz getting just a much higher top speed going down into this front straight. We'll see it here. This will be a good view. You see Berger's pushing out. See how much closer he's getting to the outside wall than Gerwitz. Gerwitz able to get on the throttle, make up even more time. He's going to look to the inside. I think Berger knows he's not quite there to make the move yet, but he's going to make Berger think about it going into 1 next time, that's for sure.
And I'll be honest, I mean, we used to be sponsored by Kane Cook Sim Coaching here on Speed Racing Network, and I'll be the first to tell you, I took a bunch of lessons from him, and he told me specifically here at Texas Motor Speedway, you got to be careful with washing up like you're seeing the 77 do. And you'll notice the 9, he's going to enter a little bit lower than the 77, helping the entry here, not burning up those tires. As there you see it. I mean, he's closing the gap here. It's a great battle for the lead here late in this race and late in this run too.
It's a good point when you're talking about be careful washing up, because it's a situation where that wall comes really quick. You think you're okay, and then all of a sudden you're not. And that's what Berger's fighting right now. He knows he has to get out to that wall as tight as he can to keep this lead. Is it going to come out and bite him, like we've seen it do to so many drivers tonight? And Berger's trying to make a big arc into 1 so he can try to roll a little bit more momentum through the middle of the corner, where Gerwitz, like you said, is staying lower, trying to keep those tires fresh. He gets a little squirrely, Berger does, going off of 2. Gerwitz not really able to take too much of advantage, as his gap's kind of stayed right here with about the 3/10 mark.
Yeah, that line that Seth Berger is running in 1 and 2 tells me that he might be fighting a little bit of a car that's on the tighter side as he tries to get that big arc, lets the gas kind of run out here through the first half, and is going to really crank on it as he gets through the apex here and doesn't have to wash up as much, as we've seen these guys getting really hard on the gas on the exit of these turns, and it's just breaking loose on them. This is helping him on the exit here, and it's helping him defend so far against the 9. The 77 holding on strong here in the Flood Brothers Toyota Camry.
And of course, he's front 2 up here fighting hard for the lead. Let's not forget about the rest of the field. And Dula and Rideout, 2 JW Racing guys I've noticed have really backed off the pace. They're falling now some 5-6 seconds back, and don't look like they're not even trying to push back up to these guys. So in my mind, that makes me think these guys think they can make it maybe the rest of the way, and they're going to let Berger and Gerwitz run out of fuel, because their pace has really fallen off. Oh, no, here comes Dula down to the pits.
So very well could have ran out of gas for all we know, Dula, if he was that far off the pace. Ryan Johnson coming down pit road as well. So that's going to leave 8 drivers, unless Byron McDonald opts to come down. He's going to stay out. So 8 drivers that have yet to come down pit lane.
So what was the magic pay window? Were they trying to stretch it to get just a couple more laps, to have just those couple more fresher tires on the rest of this field and make up the difference? And this is Gerwitz coming to pit now.
This is going to be the money stop here. You can make or break it. A race here, lose a lot of time, and it looked like Gerwitz took it a little easy getting on pit road. We'll see if that pays off, as a lot of drivers coming down. Rideout, Gandy coming down as well. That's going to leave 5 drivers that have yet to come down pit road. You got Berger, Domain, DuPont, Zimmerman, and McDonald yet to make their stop. Berger can't make a stop here, so hoping he wasn't trying, as Mosby going to the inside.
I would think Berger would want to pit after Gerwitz. You don't want to let him short pit you, but so much as Gerwitz is going to be able to get back out here on fresher tires faster, make up a big gap difference here. I think we'd have to see Berger coming up on this lap.
Right on board with Seth Berger here. I have to imagine, like you said, there is no shot that he doesn't come down. It looked like he stays out here in the 77.
Wow. That's surprising. So is he questioning whether 40 laps is enough to get you to the end? Because we've seen the 4 guys that were right behind him all short pit him now by several laps, and the one's coming in sliding.
Well, he's going to take a tow there, and end his night, it looks like, for Joseph DuPont after having a good run in the top 10 and top 15 most of the night. So Seth Berger, Brandon Zimmerman, and Byron McDonald. Seth Berger coming down this time, so didn't want to stay out too long, but we've seen some guys stay out longer and use those fresher tires. We'll see how it pays off for the 77.
And Gerwitz is the man that we're going to have to see. The difference was Gerwitz was about 3/10 behind Berger. Let's see where this comes out.
Oh, and he overshoots his stall.
Oh, man, that's going to cost some extra time. So there's no doubt in my mind now that I think after we see this cycle through, Gerwitz is definitely going to have a decent lead on Berger.
Well, newcomer here, Brandon Zimmerman is our leader, and, man, he has a lot of traffic to deal with right now in his first race here in SRN, taking the spot of Dalton Tucker, last week's winner at Darlington. Said he couldn't come back anymore this season, so Bobby Anderson Racing having to scramble for a driver as it's the cutoff week for adding anybody to your roster here. And Brandon Zimmerman having a good night out in front, up 30 positions. Byron McDonald, his teammate, just behind him.
And you saw Zimmerman fighting that car loose off of 2. You saw all these SRN guys not giving him any break as they are flying around him. Welcome to SRN, Mr. Zimmerman.
I know. I always love to hear people's first impressions of the league, and it's more competitive than people are imagining, but right now he's letting the traffic go on by and gets by cleanly as they are on much fresher tires. But, man, so far, him and McDonald holding steady out here with 34 laps to go. It doesn't even seem like they're considering pitting at this point.
I think they've made their bed. They've got several of these drivers trapped a lap down. Some guys were just able to get the lap back. I think they were hoping to maybe get a caution and trap some of the field a lap down. And once most of the field got around them, now they're forced to come to the pit.
It's a strategy you take sometimes here in racing, and didn't work out for the 65. He's going to try and make a clean stop here and salvage a good night. Keeping an eye on Gerwitz. He is back in the 12th position. So he's trying to make up some ground on the drivers who pitted ahead of him. He's got 6-lap fresher tires. The next man in front of him, that's Drew Ballesteros in 10th. You got Nichols that came down on lap 77. Schaefer 76, 73 for Seminario. So he's got a little bit fresher tires here on this field, but he's got some ground to make up at the same time.
And it looks like the difference was some 5 seconds between him and Berger. So short pinning Berger and Berger overshooting his pit stall there. That made a 5-second difference on the track.
And there you see the difference that 6-lap tires can save you there. It's going right on by Ballesteros, so move Gerwitz up into 9th in that 9 machine. Now it's going to set sail for the 42 machine of Randy Nichols. Up further here, we got battle in the top 5. Ed Shearer going on by Jordan Sailors there. That's for 3rd. Reese Schaefer and Timothy Latham side by side. Schaefer going to nab that position. Once again, that's Tank Racing and Gear Up Motorsports. Those two teams going head-to-head in the team standings here this week. So Reese Schaefer set sail. Sailor starting to fall back, though, here as he pitted much earlier than the rest of these guys.
This field is going to get real dicey and real hairy with 30 laps to go. The pay window is open, and we've got guys on some anywhere, about whole field somewhere within like a 10-lap difference on some of these tires. Some guys are really going to be flying up to this field. Some guys are going to be struggling to fight for everything they have to hold on to their position. It's going to be a real interesting last 30 laps.
Gerwitz going by Seminario now. That's for 7th. Got Timothy Latham just in front of him. Latham giving him the room.
Yeah, look, you have to. I mean, you see how hard he was able to drive that thing into the corner versus these guys. I mean, when you see that happen in your rearview mirror, you know you have no chance. You're either gonna move or you're gonna get moved. Let's be honest. When you're Gerwitz right now, you're gonna be fighting up there, get up there as fast as you can. And these guys know that some of these guys on some of these older tires have a real hard time keeping him held up.
Yeah, and we saw Berger make his way through the field on fresh tires too. So Gerwitz knows he can't waste much time. That 77 is going to be hungry, trying to make up some ground on him though, but still well back there as now he's going to the inside of the 42 here. Nichols not giving him as much room as others have here. Shuts the door, makes him live to see another day here. He's going to go to the inside though, out of 4. Drag race to the stripe. Gerwitz going to go take 4th here, entering 1.
It's not just he has to get out and get ahead of Berger, expecting Berger to work his way up the field. Healy, as we've seen all night, racing Causey and some of these guys, he's out to a 6-second lead on second place. So Healy's got to get around these guys and then make up a 6-second gap with under 30 laps to go.
Yeah, Gerwitz not too worried about that gap as he is picking these guys off one at a time up to third. Now has Causey up here. And then it's going to be a difference of 14 laps. Healy coming down on lap 67. Whoa, real dicey, real close. It made me nervous with netcode that we've seen. But Gerwitz and Causey have a clean exchange there. Moved Gerwitz up to second. He's got a long way to go now to run down Scott Healy. 5.5 seconds out.
And, are Healy, Causey, are they just sitting there beating their hand against the steering wheel, knowing that if Gerwitz wins this race, it was won on that decision to pit on that caution where these guys stayed out and put them on a different kind of pit cycle, and Gerwitz has been able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Berger was getting close to Gerwitz and was 2.5 seconds back, but now Berger's got all this traffic that he has to work his way through, and Gerwitz has essentially clean air out there, and you can see the gap. That black car is Aaron Gerwitz. Reese Schaefer going to go ahead and move out of the way of his teammate here, Seth Berger, but Gerwitz sets sail as looks like Berger's got about 4 more cars he's got to pass here.
And let's see how fast he's able to get past Causey. Nichols and Causey seem like the toughest ones for Gerwitz to get around, especially Causey was able to keep him pinched down a little bit as these guys in front of him are going to get a little racy, maybe too wide. Is that going to hold up Berger a little bit longer?
Yeah, that would be worst case scenario for Berger if that is the case, but Nichols looking like he's going to go to the outside. As Healy's coming down pit road.
Oh, and I think we just saw somebody get loose. Are we going to have a caution? The
Nichols.
42 is sliding. Nichols again.
Looks like he's off the pace here. No caution
dang.
as he's taking the pit. Oh, he went down the pit through the infield there.
Rough night for Nichols. That's twice tonight he's lost it there coming off of 4.
Got to keep an eye on this, though, in case he does park it, because if he does park it on the track and takes the tow, that's going to be a caution more than likely. Look like he might drive it all the way around as you see the damage here. Big time hit for the 42.
Yeah, he's going to do the right thing, drive it all the way around, and that is a long drive around the track after you've beaten all night for a top 5. You spun it once off of 4, you saved it, you saved your night. Fortunately, you're not able to do it the second time around.
Well, Gerwitz out in front. Seth Berger, though, nobody else to work around as he has made it up to second, 1.3 seconds back of our leader here. 23 laps to go. We're going to step aside real quick, run a quick commercial break, and come back with the exciting conclusion of the Lone Star 180.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktacks.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair, look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today, and maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Well, don't take your eyes off the battle for the lead. Seth Berger is there as Corey Saucier and Scott Healy both unlapping themselves, kind of throwing a wrench in this battle, but the lead down to 0.6 of a second with 17 laps to go. We were kind of joking during the commercial breaks, just saying, don't look in your mirror, Gerwitz, because he is coming in that 77.
Now, those 2 lap cars unlapping themselves did have an effect on this lead because, unfortunately for Berger, they both passed him on the outside on the exit of 4, so he had to slow up and check up a bit. And for Gerwitz, they passed him cleanly here through 1 and 2, gave Gerwitz the inside line, and passed him on the outside, not really affecting his line, his pace, his speed, but they definitely slowed Berger up a little bit. And what a recovery by Berger. Got short pitted some 3 or 4 laps, overdrove his pit box, and he's driving one of those man on a mission kind of mad drivers. If you think about the psychology of it, Gerwitz like, all right, I got him, I short pitted him. Oh man, he's back.
Yeah, and it's just going to be a very interesting finish to this race. Don't get me wrong, Aaron Gerwitz is one of my best buddies in this whole league. I've known him for the longest time, but we don't see him up here very often, and he's racing with a guy that is used to being up here. So that is a battle in your own mind right there, and we're going to see how he handles here. I do genuinely believe that Gerwitz is taking a little bit better care than his stuff, even though Berger came down 3 laps after. I think Berger really ate his stuff up working through that field as much as he did, but now we're going to figure out exactly who's got what as they're nose to tail going through 1 and 2.
Yeah, you got to think for sure Berger had to have burned up some stuff as fast as he was able to work his way through the field and catch Gerwitz. And here we are in the same situation, only reverse, where Gerwitz got to the back of Berger, but kind of stalled once he got to that 0.3, 0.2 of a second mark. Same thing's kind of happening here with Berger. He's got to the back of Gerwitz and just kind of stalled here a little bit. Is he biding his time? You would know you got fresher tires. You think you want to make the pass as fast as he can, but he's kind of stalled here the same way Gerwitz did when he got back to the bumper of Berger.
And you can just see the 2 very different lines that each of these guys run, and both working for their individual driver, I should say. I mean, you can tell Berger running a little bit of a half laner up higher here in 3 and 4 and just really arcing it wide and entering turn number 1 much wider than Aaron Gerwitz here, and both lines working for both drivers here. Gerwitz still defending strong here with 12 laps to go.
And Berger was a little bit loose there off of 4, so he's definitely, the car's definitely tightening up on him, and that wide arc is working a little bit for Berger. The problem is when he gets it as his advantage and when he's arcing back down to that lower line, that's usually right where Gerwitz is at. So he's even got to check up to fall back behind him. He doesn't have enough momentum to really get beside him. So he hasn't really been able to time it very well on this big wide arc.
Well, I keep forgetting to turn that dang wipe off. There it goes. As we're down to 11 laps to go, Gerwitz building that lead up a little bit, building a little bit of a gap over the last couple of laps. Might be stalling exactly like you said in that 77. As he was trying to use that high line, trying to cool those tires off now maybe a little bit on the inside lane, because we're down to 10 laps to go. That's still a lot of time left in this race. So Seth Berger maybe trying for one last push here if he can hang on with just about 0.5 of a second back of the 9.
Well, what do they always say? It's one thing to catch the man. It's another thing to get around him. He wasn't able to do it in the first 5 or 6 laps that he caught him. So he might know he has one maybe real good push at this. Cool down the tires, give this car everything you can, make it the best handling car you can for these last 10 laps, and hope to get one more shot.
Third car in line here, that's Dave Hughes Jr. It might be another situation here where he's going to maybe cost the exit of... Okay, so it's not going to cost these drivers too much here, but he's going to have to work his way around the leader, Aaron Gerwitz. And like you said, to your point, when you do that pass to the outside like he's trying to do right now, I don't think he's going to be to the outside of the 9 here on 4.
No, but he's going to be outside of Berger.
That's going to mess up his exit.
Absolutely had to check up a little bit. And the Ford's in a tough spot right now. He knows these guys are fighting for the lead. He's trying to be, aware of that, conscious of that. He's trying to time this so that he's not affecting this race for the lead as very much. But it's almost, he just kind of hung around there a lot longer than I'm sure Gerwitz was hoping for. He's got Latham down on the inside.
Yeah, I think there was another driver behind him too. So some people going through the grass here. No caution, though. That is going to be to the pleasure of Aaron Gerwitz, though. Dave Hughes Jr. Oh, and there it is. I jinxed it into existence. Norfleet bringing out the caution here, stopping on the track, it looks like, possibly.
Yeah, just not be able to keep the pace, so the system registered the caution flag. It may have been he may have been in the grass, and then when he came back onto the racing surface there, it was at such a slow pace. I imagine we're going to see somebody getting a tight off of 4 here into the wall.
So I think this was the other driver that came out behind Timothy Latham. You see Latham up there.
Oh yeah, so this the toe end, as we've heard so much in these Cup cars, is definitely affected on that vehicle as he's struggling to keep it straight.
Just want to ride on board here and see exactly what happened.
Well, there's obviously contact before that sent them down to the inside. The toe is way out on the car. As soon as he gets up to any kind of speed, it just breaks loose on him.
So that's going to end the night there for the 56 machine, and that is going to be our third caution of the night. And it's going to be a very quick sprint to the end here. What do you do if you're the leader? Are you coming down pit road or are you staying out?
I just don't see enough guys coming down. You have so many guys that pitted a little bit after you. We know we have Healy out there. He's not going to stay out. He's going to stay out. I think I just stay out and make that car as big as I can and block. But no, they're going to come in and pit, and going to bring a lot more drivers with them than I thought.
Yeah.
All these drivers saw what happened with a 15-lap difference. All of these drivers saw what happened, and they're afraid of what just 5-lap difference could be right now.
Nick, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm pretty damn glad I'm not in this race because I probably would have made my bed and stayed out there, and I would have looked like an idiot right now.
I would have done the same. I absolutely would have done the same. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You passed me, but I'm going to make you do it on the track, not under green flag.
But 2 tire stops, though. That's going to change the game. Brad Herman comes out, and Seth Berger is going to beat Aaron Gerwitz out as well. Gerwitz going to come out in 4th.
Yeah, well, I was kind of expecting most of the field. That's just something we should have talked about was 2 tires versus 4 tires. If you're going to come, better make it 2, I guess. But I did just me. I would have made that car as wide as I possibly could, thinking that we're gonna get the green flag here with probably 3 to go. Just make that car as wide as you can, knowing that on fresh tires, we've seen those guys. If you can force them to pass you on the outside, there's a good chance they're going to break loose and not be able to stay under throttle under cold tires, and hope that you can just hold on to it.
Well, we're going to see if it works out for Brad Herman here, taking 2 tires and not even sure if he took any fuel or not, but it's going to change up the order quite a bit here as they come off of turn number 4 here. Hopefully going to see 1 to go before we go green after this 3rd caution of the night, but shakes up quite a bit. Herman comes out first. Berger gets on by Gerwitz as those lights do stay on here. Joseph Causey, he comes out in 3rd. Quiet night in the 88. Gerwitz falls back to 4th. Ed Shearer in 5th place. Reese Schaefer, he's going to cycle out to 6th. Ryan Johnson has made his run all the way up to the front here. He's up to 7th now, up 27 positions. Then you got Johan Seminario here in 8th. He's up 18 positions. Brian McAvoy back there in 9th. Brandon Domain in the top 10, rounding out the top 10 as well. So We got, what, 24, 23 drivers here on the lead lap. Scott Healy all the way in the back there in 22nd after leading the first 50 laps here tonight. It is going to be a bad night if he ends up back there.
Well, and he just pitted the last time by. I saw him dive down, so I wonder why, because I was wondering, he just pitted, you know, he was one of the fastest guys on the track. We saw him unlap himself. I thought maybe he would stay out, and then I'm not sure if he just picked up damage coming through the field. I don't really see much damage to the vehicle, but he pitted another time, you know, last time by.
Yeah, I don't know if it's with the connection issues that he's having. You see the blinking there, like we saw Adrian Schumacher have, and ultimately end Schumacher's night, and he's back there in 35th, but.
And that's usually when the connection issue rears its head the worst, is under caution when these cars are all stacked up close to each other. So that might be the issue.
So the starter showing the 1 to go signal. You see the lights go out here at Texas Motor Speedway. We're going to get this thing kicked off here after another lap of yellow for the 4th restart of the night. And I just don't. I'm usually an optimist here when we come to these green-white checkers, but I just don't think it's the last one.
No, no way. No way. Not with as aggressive these guys are going to be. Watch, again, how loose these guys on this outside are going to get.
Cold tires, and they are not going to let off that gas.
No. This is almost this could almost look like a dirt track coming around. This mile and a half might look like a dirt track for a quick second. I think this is going to be very interesting.
And you see the guys scrubbing their tires. Ed Shearer trying to use all the track there to warm them up a little bit. Hey, I mean, I've never really seen much, help with that. But everybody, if that makes you feel comfortable, do it. And that's exactly what the 45 is doing right now, trying to get some heat in those tires. But
yeah, I think that's more just a placebo effect.
Yeah, it makes me feel better about it.
Yeah, it makes me feel good.
Well, the pace car lights, like I said, off, coming around turns 3 and 4. This is not a green-white checker. This would be the advertised distance if they get it done here with 3 to go, coming to the stripe. And they're going to see that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waving as they cross the green or the Geico restart zone right here for the 4th restart of the night.
Herman able to get onto the throttle there pretty well, get out in the lead. I was wondering if he was going to slide him maybe a little bit on those ultra tires on the inside. Causey is right on his bumper. Berger sliding way out to the wall, trying to get a big run coming out of the backstretch. He's going to able to get side by side with Causey. That's going to make Herman happy. How long are Berger and Causey going to be side by side?
Yes, and they're side by side coming out of turn 4. Herman holding on here with the 2 tire stop. Final lap, white flag is in the air. They're still side by side. The teammates are. Causey gets loose entering turn 1, but hangs on to it. Berger with a big run on the outside. Is he going to have a big enough run to get to the 85? I don't know if he is.
Doesn't look like he is.
Oh, he's there.
He's there. Oh, Herman needed to go up. He needed to protect that inside line and then move up to protect the run on Herman, but he didn't do it fast enough. Now
It's a
Berger's
drag
on the
race.
outside.
It's a drag race. They're banging doors, and Berger beats him to the line. Berger wins the race.
What a finish! What a finish, keeping this thing green the whole way through, and then both of those guys sliding it across the checkered flag. I kind of lost track that this was a checkered flag lap.
That was it, man. That was it. And that was a hell of a finish for a 180-mile race here in Texas tonight. Seth Berger comes away with it. And the Flood Brothers Toyota Camry for Tank Racing. His teammates going to really appreciate that. They had a great night. And I think it's safe to say they get the win over Gear Up Motorsports and move on to be the only undefeated team here in all 3 of the SRN leagues in the team standings. So Tank goes to 6-0. And Berger burning it down. He gets the W here tonight.
Impressive job there by Herman, holding him off as long as he could. He just needed to move up on that backstretch and kind of block that run. Got there a little bit late and allowed Berger to get to the outside. And what a drag race we had back to the start-finish line. Berger's going to celebrate. There's going to be a lot of celebrating, I'm sure, because after the pit incident that he had, able to race back up here. It's one happy driver right there, because that's one of the worst things you can do as a driver is, do something you thought you took your own self out of the race.
Thought he was about to take a book out or a page out of Ryan Johnson's book, doing the old reverse. The Alan Kowicki, the Polish victory lap there. Surprised this engine hasn't expired yet. He's still going to burn it down. But let's go ahead, head up to the blimp and waste no more time getting to those results here this evening. So taking a look, Seth Berger gets the W barely by 23 thousandths of a second over Brad Herman. Joseph Causey right there too, just a tenth behind. The battle for the lead there. He comes home in third. That's your podium here tonight. Ed Shearer and Aaron Gerwitz rounding out your top five.
Reese Schaefer 6th, Johan Seminario 7th, Ryan Johnson 8th, Brandon Mang 9th, and Brian McAvoy rounding out your top 10.
Matt Dula, that's going to be 11th position. Michael Politis in 12th. Latham comes home in 13th. Justin Rideout in 14th. Lane Hostler in 15th. And rounding out your top 20, you got Byron McDonald, Skip Gandy, Drew Ballesteros as well. Skip Gandy, Scott Healy, and Brandon Zimmerman in his debut race here tonight gets a top 20. So, man, got to take a second, collect ourselves after a wild finish here tonight before we get to the post-race interviews. Joseph Causey, see him there in the broadcast waiting room. Let's go ahead and bring up Causey, man. Causey, good to see you up here in the SRN Buttkicker Series broadcast booth. Come home in third here tonight. After working your way back from an EOL early on in the race, man, quite an up and down. You're almost like the stock market here tonight, up and down with your running order, but ultimately a great night. You get the third place run, and Tank Racing gets that win over the other undefeated team, Gear Up Motorsports.
Yeah, freaking our guys were clicking on all cylinders tonight. Freaking I couldn't believe, like, I was hoping for a caution. I didn't know when it was gonna come, and when it did, I thought we might had a shot there at the end, but I had liked the longer run pace. I wish when we had that second caution I had went in and took tires, because that was the play call. I should have went in and did that, and I could have probably been up there with those guys near the front to begin with, and maybe could have had first place to control the race at the end of this race. But I didn't make that call. I thought we'd get more cautions, and didn't happen. So, but to come home third after that exciting finish, that was a wild finish.
That was a wild finish. Like you said, kind of an up and down night. You chased down Healy for second and kind of watched him drive away a little bit and had to go back to the pack and back up front. And so talk about that being out on the track, and how soon did you realize that that was not the right move to stay out on tires?
When everybody started running through and they got up 7 seconds, but I knew I was good on the long run. The long run I felt great, and I knew it leveled off whenever they had gotten out there. But I wish I could have took it back now and went and got the tires and been up there with those guys. I figured we were gonna get more cautions because of how loose it was, freaking getting behind people. You could pretty much take the air off someone's spoiler here, and freaking next thing you know, they were sideways.
Well, Joseph, no stranger to the broadcast booth, so get your list out and let us hear who you got to thank here tonight.
Gotta thank Hunter Don Anesthesia Associates, Healthcare Billing, 213 Simware, Invader Sim Designs, RJ Bishop Designs, Berg Arts Designs. Gotta thank Honey Press for being on my car. They've covered my whole season this year, and I can't thank them enough. Gotta thank my Tank Racing teammates and Tank Racing for letting me drive this car, and thank the broadcasting, and thank my spotter Miz.
Well, thank you, man, and look forward to seeing what you can do next week. We're going to be out at Richmond, so a little bit of short track racing under the lights, a little bit different than what we saw here tonight, but I'm sure it will be just as much excitement as we saw. So best of luck next week. Enjoy celebrating with the teammates, and we'll see you then.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. So that was Joseph Causey coming home in P3 here tonight. You could tell he was excited about that and the great finish that happened right in front of him. But let's go ahead now, move on to the runner-up here tonight. Bring on Brad Herman. And Brad, we just talked to Joseph. He was saying, man, that was an exciting finish. Tell us about it from your perspective. Obviously, we know you wish it would have turned out differently, but, man, it was a hell of a finish and a hell of a night on a 2-tire stop there at the end for that 85.
Yeah, I'm disappointed, really. I thought I had it, but I don't know. Happy with how it all worked out, really. Just Latham called the strategy in the middle of the race, and a couple of us stuck to it, and we were all thinking and second-guessing ourselves, and they ended up getting caught in something, and I ended up going for 2 tires at the end there and stayed in the lead and thought I had it, and I guess in all reality, I looked at the replay, and I could have blocked Seth out of 2 to halt his momentum, and Joseph was still on the inside, and I think that I would have won, but it was too much at once, and unfortunately it didn't happen, but I'm happy with second for sure.
Yeah, it's always tough when you know you're on the 2 tires and you're trying to watch both lines behind you. And talk about that a little bit. You're driving just as much out of your rear view mirror as you probably were out the front of the car on those last couple laps, just trying to figure out which line was getting the run.
Yeah, I hadn't run 2 tires at all in practice or anything, so it was really just shot in the dark. Latham said it was pretty similar to fresh tires, so I was just going off his go and went across the white flag. My heart was pounding. I thought I had it, but one short.
Well, it's funny to hear. I mean, even as a defending champion, you get the adrenaline pumping in tight races like that. But that's what it's all about, man, and that's exactly why we do it. But you live to see another week. We go to Richmond next week. I know you're probably feeling pretty good about that race. Before we let you go, though, and start getting ready for that, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout-out to?
I got to thank Gear Up and the whole team for letting me run this season and their team. Love it. Great team atmosphere. Always good to be with them guys. Got to thank Tip up in the crew chief booth. He's on top of all of our boxes, so he does a good job switching between us all. And just got to thank the whole team and you guys up in the booth.
Hey, well, we appreciate that, man, and we look forward to seeing what you can do for the rest of the season. But for now, good night, man, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, Brad Herman coming home in P number 2. But, Nick, it's what do you say it's time we get down to the business here and go to Buttkicker Victory Lane to maybe possibly bring up our winner here tonight if I can track him down, as they're still celebrating pretty heavy in the Tank Racing Discord. Here he is. Bring up Seth Berger. Seth, I'm not even going to ask you, man. How was that?
That has to be, I think, my favorite race win that I've ever gotten. I don't think I've ever had a cooler win than that, and I definitely had to earn it today. And that was, oh man, that was insane. I hope that was a good show for the broadcast, but I do want to shout out Brad Herman right away. He could have walled me and guaranteed the win for himself, but he kept it clean, and I want to say I really appreciate that.
Oh, you guys definitely put on a show, and I'm sure a definitely proud moment for you, especially, sliding it through the pits there, and I'm sure you were a man on a mission after that happened to get back up there and fight for this lead.
Oh, I was so mad. I was so mad at myself. I couldn't believe I did that. I hit my braking point at the same time. I think I just hit the brakes too sudden and locked up the tires. But yeah, I was a man on a mission coming out of there, and I can't believe I caught up to him with how much traffic we had between us. But then once I got into his dirty air, I really felt that I burnt up the tires. And honestly, I couldn't tell if I was happy or not with the caution, but once I got out ahead of Gerwitz, I felt okay. I felt like they kind of negated it.
Well, one last question before we get to the thank yous and stuff. I got to ask how big your eyes were. Brad made reference to it in his interview where he probably should have blocked your run on the high lane out of 2. How big were your eyes when you saw that lane was still open and you had that run?
Oh man, I knew it was my only chance. I was man, I downshifted to 4th coming out of 2, and I got a good enough run, and I was still super nervous about going through the bump on the top line in 3 and 4, and my spotter Max just told me to keep my foot in it, so I did, and luckily it stuck and got the run coming to the line.
Yeah, we saw people struggling with the cold tires and using that high line all night, but man, you killed it out there. Congrats on the win here at Texas. Probably going to kickstart your campaign, possibly, winning the regular season championship. But Seth, before we let you go, you got any friends, any sponsors, any shout-outs you want to give?
I want to shout out to Burger Nation. Thank you for watching, and big thanks to Flood Brothers Garbage Company in Chicagoland area. Really appreciate the sponsorship and Bill supporting me. He's a big fan of watching this. Shout out to Berg Arts. It's my clothing brand. It's been a while since I told you guys about it. The giveaway did happen. Appreciate everyone participating in it. And there could be more in the near future, so keep your eye out on it. Also want to thank my tank racing teammates. Huge support. Kept it clean. Me and Causey were racing for the win there, but we kept it clean. So everyone races each other with respect. But we're all fighting for our own spots too. Shout out to Hunter Don, Healthcare Billing, 213 Simware, Invaders M Designs, RJ Bishop Designs. Again, thank you to Max Service and all you guys for putting the show on.
We appreciate the shout out, man, and congrats once again. We'll see you out in Richmond next week. Some short track racing under the lights. Best of luck next week, and enjoy the win for the week.
All right, thank you.
All right, Nick, that's gonna do it for us, man. Just like that, 120 laps in the book here in Texas, and I don't think it could have ended any better there. That was a hell of a finish at a 1.5 mile oval where you expect this to be a little bit of a snooze fest. We had battles all night long,
and then we'll see some of those how those battles progress into next week at the Action Track, my local track here in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Short track, but it invites a lot of side-by-side action. So we'll see if any of this side-by-side rubbing his racing kind of trickles off into next week as well, or carries over into next week as well. And I think we should have a great race next week at Richmond.
We're going to have a great race all week long as well. Tomorrow, the truck's going to go ahead and tackle the Rock. When was the last time you saw a race at Rockingham? I am thoroughly excited. You guys were close to having Sean Griffith broadcast your race tomorrow, in full disclosure, because I wanted to race at Rockingham, but he is out of town, unfortunately. It's going to be an absolutely awesome race. Come on back and please join us tomorrow, same time at 8:55. We'll kick the show off, myself and Brandon Domain, and then the Xfinity guys over there in the Silverback Series, they're going to have Richmond to tackle this week before the Cup drivers get on out there for Week 7. So definitely tune back in for those races. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you know exactly when we go live for those broadcasts. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. For myself, Nick Halda, thanks to joining me, Nick. It's been a little while since we've worked together in the booth, but hey, this was a good introduction back into the Cup Series tonight. So have a good night, everybody, and remember to go faster.